m'appelle Père Jacques Marquette. I'm Father Jacques Marquette. I was born in 1637, entered the Jesuit seminary at age 17, and came to Nouvelle-France at age 29. In 1671, I established the mission of Saint Ignace at Micheli-Mackinac. Like the founder of our order, Saint Ignatius Loyola, I wanted to travel to distant lands, whether it be Africa, England, or the retired west of New France. I desired to preach the gospel to those I met, and if so desired, to die among them and be buried in their land. The peoples of the upper country taught me their languages and their ways of life. They told me of great rivers and lands to the west. In 1672, Père Dablon appointed me as translator and missionary to accompany Monsieur Joliet on his discovery to explore and map the Mississippi River. I was delighted at this good news, and found myself in the blessed necessity of exposing my life for the salvation of all these people, and especially of the Illinois, who had entreated me to carry the word of God to their country. This was the beginning of our great adventure, for as I wrote in my journal, on the 17th day of May, 1673, we started from the mission of Saint Ignace at Micheli-Mackinac, where I then was. The joy that we felt at being selected for the expedition animated our courage, and rendered the labor of paddling from morning till night agreeable to us. And because we were going to seek unknown countries, we took every precaution in our power so that, if our undertaking were hazardous, it should not be foolhardy. To that end, we obtained all the information that we could from the Indians who had frequented those regions, and we even traced out from their reports a map of the whole of that new country. On it, we indicated the rivers which we were to navigate, the names of the peoples, and of the places through which we were to pass, the course of the great river, and the direction we were to follow when we reached it. With all these precautions, we joyfully plied our paddles on a portion of Lake Huron, of that of the Illinois and the Baie des Puans. The first nation that we came to was that of the Faux-Lavoine. I entered the river to go and visit these people to whom we had preached the gospel for several years. I told these people of my design to go and discover those remote nations in order to teach them the mysteries of our holy religion. They were greatly surprised to hear this, and did their best to dissuade me. They represented to me that I would meet nations who never show mercies to strangers, but break their heads without any cause, and that war was kindled between various people who dwelt upon our route, which further exposed us to the manifest danger of being killed by the band of warriors who are river in the field. They also said that the great river was very dangerous when one doesn't know the difficult places, that it was full of horrible monsters which devoured men and canoes together, that there was even a demon who was heard from a great distance, who barred the way and swallowed up all who ventured to approach him. Finally, that the heat was so excessive in those countries that it would inevitably cause a death. We left this bay to enter the river that discharges into it. It is very beautiful at its mouth and flows gently. It's full of bustards, ducks, teal, and many other birds, attracted by the white oats, of which they are very fond. But after ascending the river a short distance, it becomes very difficult of passage on account of both the currents and the sharp rocks, which cut the canoes and the feet of those who are obliged to drag them, especially when the waters are low. Here we are at Mascoutens. Here is the limit of the discoveries which the French have made, for they have not yet gone any farther. This village consists of 3 nations who have gathered there: Miamis, Mascoutens, and Kickaboos. I took pleasure in observing the situation of this village. It is beautiful and very pleasing. Far from an eminence upon which it is placed, one beholds on every side prairies, extending farther than the eye can see, interspersed with groves and with lofty trees. The soil is very fertile and yields much Indian corn. The Indians gather quantities of plums and grapes, wherewith much wine could be made, if desired. On the following day, the 10th of June, two Miamis were given as guides, embarked with us in the sight of a great crowd, who could not sufficiently express their astonishment at the sight of 7 Frenchmen, alone and in 2 canoes, undertaking so extraordinary and so hazardous an expedition. Thus, we left the waters flowing to Quebec, 400 or 500 leagues from here, to float on those that would take us through strange lands. After proceeding 40 leagues on this route, we safely entered the Mississippi on the 17th of June, with a joy that I cannot express. After a month's navigation, while descending the Mississippi from the 42nd to 34th degree and beyond, and after preaching the gospel as well as I could to the nations that I met, we started on the 17th of July to retrace our steps. We reascend the Mississippi, which gave us much trouble breasting its currents. We leave it to enter another river, which greatly shortens our road, and takes us, but with little effort, to the lake of the Illinois. At last, at the end of September, we reached the Bay de Puan, from which we had started at the beginning of June. Had the voyage resulted in the salvation of even one soul, I would have considered all my troubles well rewarded. Père Jacques Marquette, 1673.